Hey all! This is my first look at the Cinderbrew Meadery dungeon on the War Within beta, and in this video I'll be summarizing the important bits from a healer perspective. Since the dungeons are undertuned and easily powered through in this difficulty, I'm not going far out of my way to do DPS or help with interrupts. All I'm trying to do is get a sense for what the damage patterns look like, which parts are preventable, and what happens when they're not. Looks like this tank is pulling pretty conservatively, which is nice for this first room. The patrons stack a dot called Mean Mug, which requires a lot of healing if your tank does big pulls and gets high stacks. Otherwise, I'm just healing through the targets of the Boiling Flame channel and dispelling the AoE pulsing dot that gets put on individual players. The Chef mini-boss applies a dot on the whole group, and then he'll throw a bunch of stakes at you, so just dodge the swirls. Brewmaster Aldrir is a pretty simple fight. Just don't stand in the brew puddles and avoid the random frontal called Blazing Belch. At full energy, he'll cast Happy Hour, and your goal is to click the mugs on the counter and then deliver them to rowdy patrons around the room. Ideally, your group will have cleared the room beforehand, since you'll probably pull any leftover mobs while you're serving the patrons. And there is some damage going out during this part, which might be enough to keep a healer busy on higher difficulties, but right now it's definitely undertuned, even more so if you're serving all the patrons quickly and ending the phase. The next hallway isn't that bad unless you let the purveyors cast Honey Volley, which slows everyone, making it much more difficult to dodge the swirls from their rain of honey. The harvesters have an AoE stun called Beeswax, which you'll want to get out of, and Swarming Surprise, which does group-wide damage and increases the damage of the next Swarming Surprise. Probably a good enough reason to kill these guys first before you get too many debuff stacks. Bee Wranglers track a random player with Bee Zuka and fire in a line towards them. Hopefully whoever it's on doesn't put it through the whole group, but you can also CC to stop this attack. Just like they'll do on the next boss, the little bees will stack a dispellable dot on their target, so try and remove this regularly. It's magic. The second boss does a few things. First, he'll drop a few barrels around the room, which attract little bees, which apply that stacking magic dot from before. Once the bees are defeated, you can actually mount them, which gives you a new action bar with a charge ability that will break any barrels it hits, then dismount you. As far as I can tell, fewer barrels means fewer bees coming out, so just keep on that. There's also his Honey Marinade ability, which puts a circle around a player. This drops a pool of honey after a few seconds, which you don't want to be standing in, so hopefully whoever gets it drops it away from the middle, at least. He'll also flap his wings periodically, which does a brief burst of group damage and pushes everyone back. Just a minor disruption. The next area has two new abilities to deal with. The Hobgoblins cast a charge called Reckless Delivery, which you want to sidestep, that also does group-wide damage on impact and spawns brew droplets that you might want to bring to the tank. Flavor Scientists will spawn a Failed Batch, which is basically just an explosive totem which blows up after a few seconds if it's not destroyed, and if it does go off, it does initial damage and stacks a dot on the entire group. They'll also try and cast Rejuvenating Honey, which I assume is just an interruptible heal. The third boss should be really unstressful for healers if it's done correctly. Just dodge the swirls during Spouting Stout, and keep any adds from getting to the boss. If they reach him, they'll explode for group-wide damage and apply a huge absorb to the boss. It doesn't take much to kill these adds, but hopefully your tank knows to drag the boss away. Otherwise they'll probably get through. Aside from a ground effect to dodge, the last trash doesn't really have any mechanics, but each time one dies, the others heal to full, so try and kill one at a time. Now I really like this last fight. It's made up of two phases that alternate. During the regular phase, your goal is to use her attacks to blow up the barrels, which shoot out lava waves shortly after igniting, so that you'll have plenty of space to dodge once she phases and ignites all of the remaining barrels. This is mostly done by overlapping fire circles on clusters of barrels, but she also has a frontal which the tank is hopefully steering to destroy more of them. Obviously don't be caught in front when this happens, but if your tank is moving erratically, just beware. After each intermission and Let It Hail ends, you get another regular phase and a whole room full of new barrels to deal with. So just rinse and repeat and you got it. And that's all for this one. I know these dungeons are too undertuned in their current state to overanalyze, but I wanted to make a video like this, both as a bit of visual note-taking and as a beginner's guide to those who might find it useful. In case anyone liked this video except for the sound of my voice, I'll include a link to the full run without commentary in the description below. Until next time, I hope it's been helpful. Thanks for watching and have a good one.